Thanks, everyone. This is CEO 101 for new GitLab team members. Lisa, thanks for adding the first question. You want to verbalize it?
Yes. So what has been your favorite professional and favorite personal moment since October 14th?
Ooh. See, my video is bouncy. Let me fix that. Welcome to the company, everyone. Favorite moment, I think, yeah, it's a bit hard to pick. I think I'm just very grateful that the whole day went as good as it could have gone. I think what's really interesting is that everyone wanted me to be super tired before that day because of the roadshow, but because roadshows are now all on Zoom, we didn't have to travel. So I got really good sleep and I wasn't tired at all. Companies are now dissuaded. Is that a word? Dissuaded from the investment bankers to do an in-person roadshow because it means doing fewer meetings. So the pandemic fixed IPO roadshows. So I think that's cool. Erica.
Hello, I'm a user researcher, and from that perspective was wondering what you saw as the biggest challenge the DevOps team face and how you see GitLab kind of positioning itself to address that challenge or challenges if you have more than one.
Yeah, well, welcome and thanks for the question. I think the biggest challenge is kind of switching from DIY DevOps to a DevOps platform to a single interface. And we as a single interface have the problem that we have a single interface for a lot of functionality. And I think making that work is hard and it requires kind of factoring multiple things. An example of somewhere where we didn't do that is we had requirements management and we made it a top level menu item because the people who used requirements management thought that was appropriate. And I think from their perspective, that's totally true, but we have 300 users or something for that, or so orders of magnitude less than some of the other functionality. So we have to become better at doing what's right, considering not just what the users want, what the product managers want, but kind of having an overall opinion of the flow throughout the application, to incorporating the maturity of our functionality as well. Thanks, Adam.
Hey, Sid, nice to meet you. So I'm the director of brand on the corporate marketing team. My question's around, I think, the emotion that we want our current or potential community to feel. So like that Maya Angelou has been known to be said, like people will sometimes forget what you say, people forget what you do, but people will never forget how you make them feel. So in your opinion, what emotions do you want the GitLab community to feel or experience when it comes to the company and the product?
Yeah, so it's a great question and it's a great quote. The first thing that comes to mind, and it's a bit tangential, but I'm working on a kind of a brand page, like what should our brand stand for? And right now, and I'm open to suggestions how to further improve this, but right now it says we elevate others through knowledge access, job access in the DevOps platform. So how does it make them feel elevated? Maybe it's not the right word, but someone who kind of supports you and gives you access to more knowledge, better jobs, better ways to work together and do your job. It's the best I can come up with. Feel free to respond or anybody else in the call.
It makes sense. I was thinking like empowerment in that range too, but in a way that, both self-empowerment, but through the community, right? Community, like learning through others, right? Considering the whole group. So that's something I've been trying to think about from the brand standpoint. So it's awesome to hear that you're starting to work on this too. So I'm sure we'll get the chat in the future here a little bit as well.
Yeah, I might like empower more than elevate. Can we hear a few people? GitLab elevates everyone or GitLab empowers everyone?
Empowers.
Yeah, I like empowers.
Like empowers.
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 Awesome. Well, that's easy. So Shadows, can we make that change?
Yep, we got it.
Thanks, Omar. Great.
Sid, I'd also love to see something in that sentence also around collaboration.
How would you? I think a lot of it is around collaboration. Collaboration is like, it's like communication. It's everything.
Yeah, it goes back to the like there's one part of thinking about what you do for yourself, but it's the other thing about what you do as a group. So for me, looking at what GitLab does in the community is it's around the team effort that a particular MR goes through, not just one person's potential change, but then the collaboration that takes place that takes out one idea and makes it better.
Yep, I agree that what we add as a DevOps platform is not so much the individual work, because you could already do that in your point solution. It's more about getting people on the same page, making sure others can see your work and that there no context is lost in the handover and there's a global state. I agree that's the value of us as a DevOps platform. I'm not sure how to weave that in and whether it's therefore necessary to weave that in, but I'm open to proposals. Tim.
So I'm Tim Angelos. I'm area sales manager with the public sector team. And my question is, if you could have dinner with 3 people, and they could be living, dead, historical, anyone, who would they be and why?
That's good. Reminds me of the New York Times 50 ways to fall in love question set. I assume that's not your goal here. I think historic is really hard because there's so many interesting people. But I guess it's part of the question, so it would be a bit of a cop out. Probably an ancient Greek philosopher, although I failed my Greek really hard back in high school, so I need a translator as well. I could do that. It's like the second dinner person, but won't do that cop out. And then I think this is something that might be achievable. I think very highly of the economist Tyler Cowen. I think I'm super into kind of macroeconomics, and I think he's the best economist of our generation. And then it's a bit sad that I'm going for 3 males, but it is what it is. The third one will probably be Elon Musk. I think what he does at SpaceX is drive iteration for a hardware company, and I think that's so hard compared to what we do. I think that's really, really awesome. Thanks for the question. Blair?
Yes, hi. So I'm Blair Fraser. I'm the program manager for partner enablement. And my question was really around mentorship. There are a lot of great opportunities that I've seen thus far at GitLab to seek out mentorship and to even provide mentorship. But I'm curious as to who you tend to turn to when you're looking for advice or looking for a mentorship role.
Yeah, thanks. And want to plug the opportunities we have. There's Modern Health. If it's a bit more on the softer side, there's a 10K budget for any mentors you want to find yourself. And then there's a couple of like mentorship programs that are specific to departments. I'm not doing a super good overview, but like talk to your manager, I think would be another set of advice. And I think it's great to have people who are not your manager who can kind of help you. Your manager can point you in the right direction. So I have a CEO coach. Currently, that's Marissa Peterson. I think who do you go to for advice? Like most of the time, I'll talk to like the relevant report I have. Then I tend to have about 3 professional dinners. That's not a word, but dinners with people who are also like in business a week. So I might ask them. And yeah, there's quite an extensive network here in the Valley. So it depends a bit, like, for example, if it's early stage VC related, I might ask my friend Rami Adib from 1984 Ventures. It's a later stage, I might ask our board member, Dave Minchala. If it's more like CEO related, I might ask Godfrey Sullivan, a board member, or if it's too outside of that, I might ask another CEO. So really depends. It's a bit of a ramble. Hope I addressed your question.
It was perfect. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I was going to ask a question about the CEO coach. So I can just follow up here. I've heard you mention that a few times in various recordings, and I was interested if you could elaborate on sort of what you get out of that, and what your relationship with that individual is like, and who that individual is.
So it changes over time as the companies grow. You get to hire better coaches, not better, but also not necessarily better, but people seem bigger scale. So that kind of helps because the problems you're facing tend to be kind of specific to the size of the company. My previous coach was Dan Levin, the old COO of Box, but he became an operator again. And then an earlier coach was John Hamm, not the actor, who was also really good. It's your second part of your question is, what do you talk about? Marissa, for example, we talk about delegating. I think I just reassigned the blog post to Tori. Thanks, Tori. And now we're talking about kind of how to prevent big company syndrome, as in people who are overly focused on process on the expense of results. But also Marissa is part of our e-group offsite. So kind of gets to observe kind of the dynamics in the group and helps us kind of function better as a team.
And do you sort of bring things to them, or do they sort of monitor your activity in some way? And
you bring things to them, and okay. It's one of the few meetings where I actually prep that meeting and put items on the agenda in advance. Thanks,
okay.
Madeline.
Yep, I think I'm next. Yeah, I was just curious. You probably are well-deserved for some vacation. So what's your next vacation destination or vacation plans that you have coming up?
Yeah, thanks. And we all deserve vacation. I encourage everyone to take it, and I certainly try to lead by example. So the one actually scheduled is in December, and that would be going back to the Netherlands. But I just got an email from friends or old colleagues at U-Boat Works that invited me to go test drive the submarine that I worked on for 5 years. not that specific submarine, but hang out with those people. So that'd be fun. So I'm considering that. Hannah?
Hey Sid, are you a podcast fan? And if so, do you have any you would recommend?
Ooh, I'm not a big fan. Mostly I've not been able to add it to my routine. I don't have any travel time. And when I'm working out, either it's with a trainer or it's watching YouTube. And I enjoy the kind of the visual aspect, the visual distraction of YouTube, I guess. The last podcast I listened to was one called Seeing White, and I'll link it. I'll link it in the doc. It's I'm linking it in the wrong part of the document. Right, Seen on Radio, and it's about kind of white identity in the US. Jim.
Hey, Sid. I feel like I've been here. I guess the term now is in GitLab years because I started at the beginning of the quarter, and I feel like a seasoned veteran.
That's great.
Question is, where did the seed for the DevOps idea and which evolved into GitLab come from?
So you mean the seed for doing DevOps, which preceded GitLab as an application, or the seed
Yes.
for GitLab as a DevOps platform?
The former question.
Okay, so there's a good history, and I have that in my browser tabs because I still want to read into it, but it's so I don't. Let's see. So I'll link that, and I'll briefly share my screen. DevOps Days in the History of DevOps is the article, right? Rada code. Link it in the doc.
Thank you.
Hey Sid, I'm Emily. I'm on the people team as a people business partner supporting customer success channels and alliances. And so I'm naturally curious around your thoughts around people leadership. And I'm wondering what characteristics or qualities do you value most highly in your people leaders and why?
Well, it's a great question. There's different frameworks you could apply, but I'll go after a few of the values. So top values results. I think it's about getting to an outcome and kind of taking ownership of that. It's about transparency, like bad news should travel fast. Don't try to warp the situation or what other people said or things like that. Like iteration, like how can we get something out the door quicker and learn faster and prevent coordination problems. It's about diversity, inclusion, and belonging. Like, are you making everyone feel welcome and able to contribute? And are you having a diverse recruiting pipeline? It's about efficiency. Is there a clear proposal on the table? Like, what's the proposal? Many times people come with a problem but no proposal. And if you really don't know a solution, then at least state that. Like, I thought about making a proposal, but I have no clue. That's fine. But it's helpful if I can just say yes, because most of the time you know more about it. Well, almost all of the time you know more about it. Most of the time I can just agree with the proposal. Yeah, collaboration. Like, are you able to kind of employ different styles of leadership depending on kind of who you work with and how good that person is in the how proficient that person is in their role and what their level is and how they like to communicate.
Hey,
Thanks for
Sid.
that.
Oh,
Dan?
thank you. Yeah, so first of all, just thanks so much for taking the time to talk to all of us. This is really awesome. But yeah, I'm a security compliance engineer in the security assurance subdepartment. Just started yesterday, actually. So I didn't get, yeah, I sadly didn't get the opportunity to take place in all of the celebrations and fun that happened in the previous weeks with the IPO and everything. So my question is, from your perspective, what was your favorite or most memorable experience or moment from that IPO day?
Yeah, lots of good stuff. And if you go to our training platform at Cast, then you can view the entire 4 hours of recording. So you can also, there's tricks with JavaScript, you can play it at 2x speed, but that might be worthwhile if you want to kind of.
I'll definitely check that out.
With that, I'll do a few stories. I think when we had to kind of open the day for trading, there's a countdown right in front of you, but I was so focused on the confetti and the monitors and just applauding that I forgot about it. So Dimitri had to pull my arm and to actually push the button. Normally I'm a bit more organized, but I was really in the moment. We did interviews. You do 12 interviews in 4 hours with the press, which is pretty intense.
Wow.
Robin brought her favorite cookies, and we were kind of joking that every time I did a good interview, I got a cookie. So it was an ongoing meme during the day. And then at some point we were outside walking from Times Square, walking inside, and there was a data wall with team members, and I figured out which camera or which computer that was on. So I leaned in and was able to say hi, and then the team members applied a lot of, I think it was supposed to be a gong, but everyone was talking about it as cowbell. Was fun.
So
Thank you so
Sid,
much.
follow-up question, just out of curiosity, if you don't push the button, does the NASDAQ not open?
Pretty sure it's pretty fake, but it's fun. I think my delay didn't cause the high frequency traders to miss out on those seconds of trading. But it shows the power of rituals, and I think I'm always eager to kind of find more rituals for us to do, especially since we're a remote company. We're at a disadvantage there. So I think it's something that open to ideas. Chris.
Hey, Sid. My name is Chris Guitarte. I'm a new technical account manager focused on CS programs here at GitLab. My question is, what is your most memorable GitLab unfiltered video that captured a unique moment in GitLab's history?
The one that comes to mind, not necessarily the answer, but the one that comes to mind is me pitching the product to Michael McBride when he was just coming to work here. And that video racked up like thousands of views to the point where I think he was hearing it from people kind of near him, that it was an auto suggest on their Gmail and stuff like that. So that's one that comes to mind. Nikki?
Hey, Sid, I think we're coming right up at time, but if you have a minute, just to share kind of any tips or tricks or advice you have for learning the GitLab way of working.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think most team members report that the first month is pretty rough. It feels lonely. There's a lot of onboarding tasks. You feel like you have to learn a lot in little time. You feel kind of you're not getting up to speed as quickly as you want to. So just know everyone's going through that. It's not you. It's stuff we throw a lot at you in that first month. Be nice for yourself. Oh, we're at time. Sorry about that, Ashley and Sandra.
Wah, wah. It's all right. Thank you so much for coming. Hopefully we can get those other questions answered. Happy to chat later.
Yeah. you can throw them in the CEO channel if you want. Thanks for joining GitLab, everyone.
Thanks.